A brand new armor set got leaked that will be coming in the future with some very interesting perks that we also find on the weapons. I also want to touch on the new cosmetics you can get right now from the river raids, including new Odyssey items that just appeared in the Ubisoft Connect section of the game. So there's really a ton to go over. If you of course like the Valhalla content here on the channel, then showing your support by leaving a like on the video would really help me out. And let's go. You can find my current Helix credit pack giveaway in the pinned comment for 2,300 credits. Of course, you have to be a subscriber of the channel if you want to participate, and good luck. These giveaways are of course a way for me to give you a chance to win one of these items. And we already discussed the new High Elf pack. Seems that after this pack we get the Dark Knight pack because this one got now leaked. And I want to thank the Brazilian YouTuber GamerLoGames who even recorded some English footage for me. Really appreciate it. This video would not have been possible without you. And a link to his channel of course in the video description, so totally check him out. But before I go more in depth on the armor set, let's first take a look at the new Odyssey naval items that were added, inspired by the Adrestia, your ship of course in Odyssey. They can now be earned by playing the river raids. You can view the 2 challenges in the time-limited tab on Ubisoft Connect. There's one solo challenge where you have to do 5 river raids on your own. And yes, just going to a river and then immediately quitting counts as one. So you can do that 3 times for the tailpiece already, which you then have to claim individually. And then it showed up for me. And then do a river raid and quit immediately 2 more times for the figurehead. It took a really long time for me to get it though, after I claimed it in the Ubisoft Connect section. So if you don't immediately get it, just wait. It was like 2 hours later before I got it. And then if you did 5 river raids, you just have to wait for the community challenge, which has us do 750,000 river raids in total to be completed. And that should be completed by the end of the week, I'm sure. I will keep you posted here. And now let's move on to the Dark Knight pack that we will get later on. I think the new armor looks really great, but maybe you already noticed it. It's a reskin of that Knight of the Round Table armor set, which is one of my favorite looking armor sets in the game. That one had the gold stripes, and this one had the silver stripes, and also the lion on the cloak is of course gone with this new Dark Knight pack. We now just get the armor, and of course a brand new helmet that also, when you put the hood on, falls down, so your whole face is covered. I think the cape is pretty cool as well, with the cross and the dragon combo. The armor comes with another new Drake. Still never had one of these Drake skins for soon in the random selection of Reda. Fingers crossed that Ubisoft grants us one of these dragons soon. There are like multiple now in the game. And also we see a brand new Cougar mount, which looks pretty nice. But I want to talk about the perks of this set, because they are very interesting. You get 20 armor when equipping 2 pieces, which is not exciting, but also not really bad. It's all about the full set bonus though. Getting hit increases stacks, and then you deal damage and mark enemies in an area at full stacks, so after 5 hits, and the marked enemies then take 5% more damage. And GamerLoGames was also kind enough to record some combat footage of this set, where we see this perk in action. Here Eivor gets hit by this flail enemy, and then bam, we see this big blast. It damages the enemies, it knocks them back, and it also creates this effect above their head, which we'll show more clearly in a moment. And yeah, we often talk about how attack and melee damage bonuses are not really noticeable in Valhalla, but increasing the damage that enemies take should be pretty good. And sure, 5% it's not a lot, but you can increase this even more with the Dark Knight weapons. If you namely block or parry with this new shield, the enemy that attacks also gets marked and takes 5% more damage. So then it goes up to 10%. And with the new Bearded Axe, you simply mark a target by hitting them, and then the damage against that enemy is also increased by 5%, so it can go up to 15%. You see that the enemy is marked thanks to the visual sort of crown effect around their head. So pretty interesting stuff all around. Ubisoft is increasingly getting better at making more interesting perks for their gear. Also good to note is that just blocking or parrying with this armor set also counts as getting hit. So you can just like stand, do a parry, and then the blast from the full armor set perk can still appear. But yeah, truth be told, of course, it will be hard to get all these 5 pieces at Reda, although the weapons can totally appear at some point and will be great additions to your arsenal, I think. Ubisoft is on a 2-week release schedule for these Helix packs, so that should mean that this one releases September 21st. but it seems to be the only Helix set that is actually part of this new update, so I think we might see it even a week later instead. And speaking of brand new armor sets, there's already one you can get right now for free, Luke's armor, and I already showed you the amazing helmet you find in River Burba, in the first Irish military camp you come across. There's one more in Burba, and the other 3 pieces are in River Arif. You see the locations right here, but just look for the military camps where you fight the Irish enemies, and then in one of the big chests you will get the loot. The point is though that they don't show up in the transmog system immediately, so you cannot use this awesome helmet over other helmets in the game. Well, Bojan reached out on Twitter saying that this is very random. If you decrease the quality of a random gear item, which you can of course also do at the blacksmith, then out of nowhere, Luke's armor pieces do show up in the transmog system. And yes, here I do it, and bam, it works for me. I totally think you have to use a random item and not one of Luke's items, and then you can select the amazing helmet over other headgear in the game, and the armor itself is also really cool to transmog, because it changes in color every time you upgrade it. First, when you get it, it's boring gray, but then, when you upgrade every piece to the silver quality, the armor suddenly got these green touches and even a green hood. And we totally have other green cloaks in the game, but I think this is the first time that we got really this light green color, but correct me if I'm wrong. I overall really love it, and then if you upgrade it once more to the mythical status, it becomes more dark green with some blue touches. Like sure, it's the Feint cloak again. I really hope they don't use the Feint cloak anymore in the future. We see some Magister items here and there, but overall for a free gear set with an amazing new helm, I'm happy that they added this. It kind of reminds me of the St. George's set, of course also a reskin, but they added a completely unique look for the Feint chest, white and red, and the amazing white hood. They're still some of my favorite looks in the game that I rock very often. I will go more in depth on the perks, by the way, of the Luke's armor set, and also the brand new weapons of the River Raids in a future video. I need a bit more time for that, and if I would be talking about it here, it would be a really long video. So stay tuned for that. I do quickly want to touch on the new cosmetics Fawn is selling though, like the new naval pack. It will cost you 200 supplies per piece, so 1000 foreign supplies in total. And the icons look better, only the green river figurehead is worth it in my opinion. Maybe the ship design if you dig it, but the rest of this set is really bare bones. Luckily the settlement items are a bit cooler, like the Shield Maiden statue. I like the pillar that she stands on as well. The treasure hoard is fine, it's kind of what you expect. And I think actually the icon for this settlement item is also what got leaked in the first River Raid trailer. Maybe you remember that. This was all the way back in February. So I would not be surprised if they already created those items, but held them back for the second River Raid release. The weapon stockpile is also not that exciting. I do like the new gold Viking statue though, so all these settlement items are 100 supplies each, and if you want the big settlement tree, that is 400 supplies. And also not really cool, some treasures around an otherwise standard tree. And I think that's the big problem with these new River Raids, that you're constantly getting these foreign supplies, but there's almost nothing that is exciting to buy with this currency. Sure, there are some upgrades for your ship to carry more foreign supplies, but if you already got the upgrades from the previous River Raids, then you don't really need it, and what are you gonna do with even more foreign supplies? I guess the Viking upgrades can be nice if you use your Viking. But overall, I think it's a pretty big oversight. That, again, after 4 hours, you got all the interesting items in the new River Raids. And then there's really no good reason to boot up the mode again. But those 4 hours were really enjoyable though. I especially loved the champion boss fights. And we got some really cool weapons as a reward. So I will of course do a video going in depth on these new weapons. I will tell you if they are any good. That video will be up very soon. So subscribe if you haven't already to miss no Valhalla content. A like on the video would really help me out. And check out my previous video on other new items by clicking on the screen. For now, I will of course speak to you next time, and goodbye.